and welcome to my channel. My name is Francisca. If you're new here, you're welcome. If you're an old subscriber, I know I have not been posting a lot of videos, okay, and I shared the reason why. If you've been following me, I've shared the reason why I've not been posting. I'm glad to be back. I shared my first tutorial since I got back, and that tutorial is on how to make a shift dress with a front zipper and a facing. Today's tutorial is on how to make this very quick dress for your little one using, you can use a t-shirt. I actually used a bodysuit, okay? I used a bodysuit and scrap fabric. If you have scrap fabric, don't throw your scrap fabric away because you don't know when you might need it. Okay, so that's what I used in this tutorial. This is actually an applique that I just quickly pinned. I also made a belt. The belt is not part of the tutorial. It's actually very easy to make, so I didn't film this. And I also made a matching headband for my baby girl. I made a matching headband. If you want a tutorial on how to make one, just let me know in the comment section and I'm going to film, a tutorial for this. And if people are wondering why there are two colors going on here, okay, pregnancy did it. I've actually, made some announcements on here that I recently gave birth to a baby girl. So since I had my baby, okay, and I'm into sewing, we're going to be seeing more of baby girl wears on this channel. I hope you guys are excited for that part, okay, especially if you're into making children dresses. So if you're new to my channel, you're welcome. Kindly, click the subscribe button, click the bell so you get updates when I post new videos. And yeah, let's dive into this tutorial, which is very easy and very to make this outfit. I got myself some scrap fabric. This is fabric that I had from like 3 years ago. So I have scrap fabric and I have a bodysuit right here. So this is a bodysuit. If your child is not wearing something that has snaps at the bottom like this, you can go ahead and use a normal t-shirt, a normal round neck t-shirt, whatever you have, you can go ahead and use that. So for my baby, I decided to use something like this, okay? So we are going to be making a dress out of what we have here. Now I have my fabric cut out already, okay? So I have 2 pieces of fabric cut out here. So this is 2 pieces. It is measuring 11 inches in length, okay, 11 inches in length, and the width is about 32.5 inches. So 32.5 times 2, that is 65 inches, okay. I went ahead to measure the waist area for this outfit, and the waist area is around 8.5. So 8.5 times 2 is 17, okay. 8.5 times 2 is 17. One tip I want to give when making something like this is to make sure that you stretch out the waist of the t-shirt, okay, stretch out the waist and measure before you begin, doing anything, okay. It's very important. The reason why you're stretching the waist area out is because by the time you sew onto it, the fabric around that place it doesn't stretch anymore. So you actually want to stretch it out so that by the time you're wearing your little one, the outfit, it is going to be very easy. So the round waist measurement for this outfit is 17 inches. And the fabric that I have here is measuring 65 inches. So that is approximately times 4 of the waist measurement, okay? I have another piece of fabric again. So we're sort of like making a stepwise gown where one will be shorter and one will be longer. So this other fabric, the same measurement for the width as well, 65 inches, because I have 2 pieces of fabric. And if I should measure the length, it is measuring around 7 inches. Okay, so did you see that? It is measuring around 7 inches. So what I'm going to do right now is take this to my sewing machine, okay? I'm going to stitch here by 1/4 inch, stitch here by 1/4 inch, so we sort of like have a circle, okay. I'll do the same thing for this bigger one as well. Stitch by 1/4 inch, stitch here by 1/4 inch, okay. And after stitching, I will go on to hem the bottom of each of them. So I've gone ahead to stitch the sides, okay, and I've hemmed the bottom as I explained I was going to do. What I'm going to do next is to place this small one on the inside of the big one, okay. So I'm going to place it like this, and I'm placing it in such a way that the wrong side of this small one is touching the right side of the big one. Do you understand? So I'm going to place it in like this, and then I'm going to pin this down. All right, so I'll pin this down. I'm going to repeat the same thing for this other side. Then I'll go ahead and pin down as well. So once I've pinned down like this, we need to check that what we have, is actually correct. Okay, so I'm going to turn everything now to bring the right sides out. And you can see that we have the right side of the small one facing me. We have the right side of the big one facing me. So what I'm going to do right now is take this to my sewing machine. The first thing I'm going to do is to run a zigzag stitch all around the top, holding these two pieces of fabric together. And after I've run that zigzag stitch, I'm going to be running a gathered stitch because we're going to gather this part of the fabric. So after sewing the zigzag stitch, which is right here, okay, right at the edge, I went about a 1/4 inch away from that to sew my basting stitch. The next thing I'm going to do is to begin to pull my thread and gather it to the waist circumference of this bodysuit that we have here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to begin to pull my thread. So I'll begin to pull to gather this. So you want to pull as gently as possible so that your thread doesn't snap. Okay, so you can see it is beginning to gather. So that is what I'm going to do till I have it gathered to the waist circumference of the bodysuit. So after gathering, this is what I have. I'll just go ahead and measure this. I should be having around 8.5 inches. Okay, so can you see? So I have about that or close to. Now what I'm going to do next is to get my bodysuit. Okay, so here is the back, right here is the front. So what I'm going to do is to find the midpoint between the armhole and this bottom right here. Okay, and I'll take that as the waist. So if I should measure right here, I have about 6 inches. So I'll come right here, mark 3 inches. That is where I'll place the skirt. And I'll come right here, measure 3 inches from the armhole and mark. After marking the 3 inches here and here, okay, I'm going to join it together. All right. The reason I'm joining it together is so that sewing will be much easier. Okay, so I'll turn it to the back as well and do the same thing. So I'm just going to place it like this so that I can mark the 3 inch here. Do the same thing for this other side as well. Okay, so just mark it. So once I mark it like that, I'll go ahead and make a straight line like this. So you can see that it meets the one in front. So can you see? It meets the one in front. So I'm going to wear the skirt that I've sewn onto the bodysuit with the right side of the bodysuit touching the wrong side of the skirt. So I'm just going to put it inside like this. And once I have it inside like this, I will flip this to this side. Okay, and then I'm going to pin this seam that I have here. I'll pin it to the seam of the bodysuit. So we want this to be distributed as evenly as possible. All right, and then I'll go ahead and pin that down. So I'm pinning it where I have the mark. Okay, so I'm pinning it where about 1/2 inch from where I have the mark. So I'll go ahead and pin this side down. I'll repeat the same thing for this other side. Where I have this seam, I'm going to place it 1/2 inch away from the mark because we're going to be sewing by a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then I'm going to pin this down as well. And then I'll take this to my sewing machine and sew all around with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, making sure that I follow the mark that I've made around the waist line. Okay, after sewing this part onto the bodysuit, this is what it looks like on the right side. Okay, you can see we now have a dress from a bodysuit and from this Ankara fabric. If you look at the inside, this is what we have. And then your baby can go on to wear this. I made this belt actually so that by the time I sew it on and my baby girl is wearing this, it's going to be snug on her body. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, kindly give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell so you get updates when I post new videos. And I'm going to be seeing you in my next tutorial. Bye!